Okay guys, so welcome to another video from Share Local Codes. So today we will be creating a blog post for whereby the admin or the owner of the blog post will create a post, and um, users or people coming into the site can comment on that blog post. So there can be multiple comments on one post, and they can also like and unlike the post. So multiple users will be able to like, and they will also be able to comment on that post. The users can they can create the comments or like the post. They can also edit their comment, like update their comments in the future. They can also delete their comments too, and then the admin can create the post. They can edit or update his post in the future. He can delete his post, and when the user is deleting his post, the comments and the likes that is under that post, everything will get deleted as well. So that's what we're going to be building today. Our technologies we're going to be using um, JPA, Spring Boot, PostgresQL. We're going to be using so we're going to be using APIs, so RESTful APIs. That's what we're going to be using, and we're going to be using Postman to do our testing of that, making sure that our APIs are actually working the way that we want it to work. So the first thing to do here is that we need to create a new project in our IntelliJ. So click on new projects, go to Spring Initializer. So we're going to use this is going to be a demo class. So I'm going to use it as a blog demo, and Java language Java. Our type is Marvin. Then um, group ID will be blog post or blog demo, and then we can remove one of these, so it should just be blog demo. um, so this is my package name, and then this is Java 17. I'm using Java 17, and then the packaging will be Java. So click on next. So next we're going to add our dependencies. So our dependencies will be Spring Boot DevTools. We have the JPA. We have Starter Web, as Spring Web. So we'll also be using Lombok for reducing the boilerplate codes in our code, and then we're going to be also get the Postgre driver, because we're going to be connecting using the Postgre as our database. We're going to also be using DevTools data JPA Web Lombok driver. Okay, mm, I think that's all for now. Anything we need, we can always get it from the Maven repository site. So let's create it here. So under the source package, we'll go to the main Java, and okay, let's still wait for it to scan the files. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do here is that under resources and application dot properties, I'm going to put in my my configuration for that. So this is it here. Mm. So this is going to be update, because we want that our database will be creating a new ID. So database will not just, when we close the server, we don't want it to reset the audio um, our fields to 0 back and to 1 and start from 1 again. So we want it to be updating. So even though we close our server or not, the database will continue from where it stopped. So if you have ID1, ID2, ID3, if you close the server, come back. If you save something there, it's going to continue from ID4. So that's what we're going to be using updates. So this is the URL for Postgre. So this will have to change the this is the database name, blog demo. So this is your username, and then this should be your password. So please, you have to change this to your password when you were installing the Postgre server. There will be a password that you filled in. So this, you have to replace it with this one here. So others will be the same. So we have to go to pg admin 4, and then what we're going to do here is that when you open the app, you have to create a new database. So go into database, you just create database, and you're going to just put your blog demo here and then save. So automatically it creates the database for us. So that's all we need for now. So it has to match this particular one here, and this is my local host, the server at which the Postgre is running at. So you have to know your own. If you don't know your own, I think you can get it from here. So if you go to database and then you go to if you go to Postgre and then you go to properties, you should be able to see it under the connection. So this is my port 5433, localhost 5433, and then my username is Postgre. So now after I've set up the database, the next thing I have to set up is my data source. So I have to the connection. So just for the connection, so I connected the database with IntelliJ. So I'll come here, I go to Postgre, and then waiting. So here, I'll just put in the blog demo, the name of my database. I come here, put the Postgre, I think is it. Postgres, I think it's Postgres, and then you put your password. It's going to be yes, and then here also will also be your database name. So that's blog demo. Yes, and then also here remember to change the port so it will be able to connect properly. Then you click on test connection to make sure that the connection is successful. So it also give us a succeeded. So this succeeded telling us our connection has been created. Then we click on apply and then OK. Okay, so we're still waiting for it to load. It's still introspecting the JPA. So it has created our database now. So the connection is successful. So we just close this guy. So all this the configuration to our database is successful. So the next thing we do here is to create our project structure. So we have the controller post. So we're going to be doing post. So this is the post of these are the different models we'll be using in this project. So there will be the post, there will be the comments, there will be the like. So let's create a model for post, and then we're going to have another model for comments. But for now, let's just handle just the post, and then we're going to also have repository. So we need the repository to connect us to the database. So post repository, yes. And then we also need our service implementation. So we need services. So this service implementation dot post service implementation, right? Okay, so you create the class. So now post repository is actually an interface. It's an interface, yes. And then to connect all together, the repository has to extend extend JPA repository so that we can have access to all the CRUD repository methods in JPA. So that's like the save, the find all, find by ID, delete by ID, all the different JPA CRUD methods will be available to us from our so our post repository interface will inherit these methods that are found in JPA repository. So we're going to give it the post and the long. So post is the class, is the model class, and then long is going to be the data type of the ID in post. So we're going to come to post model here. Then we're going to giving it the entity annotation for JPA, and then we also have the data for Lombok, all args for Lombok 2, and no args. So these ones are we just need them so that we can reduce boilerplate codes. So we can also have a at table notation. So what this one does is that it gives us the name. So we can say posts. So now it's giving us red because we don't have an ID. So we need to create an ID here. So we use the generated value, and then we're using a strategy of generation dot sequence, and then we're going to give it a generator of post generator. Okay, so this will be in a string format. So post generator. Okay, so and then this is going to be private long ID. So you can see the error has gone out there. So this is supposed to be a double quotation, not a single quotation. So now our post, we're going to make it very brief as possible. So the post will have an ID, which it will use. You can use to recognize it in the database, and then you're going to also have the post will also have a title and a description. So let's just use title and description of the post. So we have to also create them here. Private string post title, which is just title, and then we're going to have private string description. So, or we can just say content, but let's just use description. So description. Okay, this will be a lower case. So the next thing we'll have here is let us create a timestamp. So timestamp is like is an SQL method class. So what it does is that you can actually create a current timestamp. What this current timestamp does is that as you create your post, the database will create the date and the time and the second at which that post was created, and it will give you you can record it. So we're going to be creating the timestamp here. So we're going to use this. So I'll explain what this is. So this is going to have it here. So we're going to use this, going to be the post date, and then we're going to import this guy and import date. So the date is a util, not a SQL, is a util class there. So this is what does the creation of timestamp at the current time. So that's it. So it creates the SQL, your SQL database creates the date for you. So you are not the one that creates that date. Your database will create that date for you. So that's what we're going to be using, because all posts will usually have a time that the post was created, and so it's managed and handled by your SQL. So that's it. And then we're going to so the column name will be post date. So that's why we're using column name here, post date. So we can actually copy this and then have so we can actually go. So this one here will be for title, and then we also have it for description. So description, I can actually say description like this. So this is how the database will record these different columns. So the ID, the title, description, post date, and I think that's all. So the next thing we're going to do is to create a constructor with only the fields of string and then of title and then description. So this is because when we're trying to save our post, we are only going to be putting in the title and description of that post. The ID will be automatically generated for us by our database, and the post date will also be generated by the database for us. So we're going to only be using this title and description in the constructor. So having all these sets, we are good to go on the post class. Then the next thing we're going to do is to our services. We're going to annotate it with the @service. So telling Spring Boot that this is a Spring service class, and it should be used as such. So in this the service class, we have to inject the repository and dependent class into this service implementation class. So we'll do it like this. So post repository, and then creating a constructor here. Okay. You use the auto-wired. So this auto-wired is actually have created an instance of post repository, which is this, and injected it into this class, so that this class will be fully initialized with all the methods that are found in post repository. So that's the work of AutoWired here. So that's what it does. So we also need to go into post controller. We need to also annotate the controller class with our REST API, controller. So telling Spring Boot that this is going to be a controller class, but we're going to be creating RESTful APIs in this class. So the next one we're going to do is going to be a request mapping. So request mapping is request mapping. So request mapping just sets the base URL for this controller. So this I'm going to use /API here, and then we're going to also inject the post. We're going to inject the post service implementation as our service file here, and then we're going to also create a constructor for that. So and then it will be annotated with the AutoWired. So we'll be able to use all the methods in post service imp from in the post controller class. So that's what the AutoWired does for us there. So first thing first, we need to start creating. We have set up our project, and the next thing to do is to create our APIs now. So let's go to Postman so that we can create a collection for this project. So this is it has created it here. So what I'll do is just to rename this collection to a blog demo. Yes, and then we're going to add different requests here. So the first request we're going to be handling here is going to be we want to be able to save posts. So that's the first thing we have to do, is to be able to save a post. So when the admin wants to save the post, this is the endpoint that we will use to save the post into database. So let's just name this as save post. Yes. So and that save post is a post method. So we're going to come back to the IntelliJ to create that endpoint. So that's going to be post mapping, and then we're going to see save post, and then we're going to use, this is going to be public. Now we're going to be using response entity. So response entity, what it does is that it helps us to also add a status code, HTTP status code into our lesson. So you're going to see how it works. So we're going to be saving post. So we're saving one post at a time. So we are going to be saving one post at a time. So the return type here is going to be response entity of post. So one post at a time. Then we're going to be able to give it our method name. So set post. Set post like this. Import the class of post. And then because of you are going to be saving a post, so you need the whole body of that post for you to be able to utilize the title and the description of that post. So we're going to be using at request body. So that's what request body does for us. It brings the body of the post, and then so we can be able to make changes or save that body or do any to make changes or to save that class. So it helps us, just brings that body for us, that class body for us. So we're going to request body, so post post. So that's it. Then we're going to be returning post service dot save post, and then we're going to put in the post inside here. So now you can see that this is red. So what it means that we need to create a method of save post into the service implementation class. So that's it here. So here is going to be a simple return new response entity. But first we have to first save the post. So we just do post repository dot save post. Yes, and then we'll come here and just put the post that we saved, and then HTTP status code of created. So I use created HTTP status code of dot status dot so this is it dot created. So created is here. So this is it here. So this is to save the post. This is just the method we have to create here. So you can see it's very easy. So to create a post, you just need to request the body of that post so that you can be able to save that post. Or if you when it comes to the part where we have to edit, so you can also be able to make changes to the fields in that post class. So that's what we're going to do. So let's test the endpoint here. So going to Postman, I just copied the endpoint here. So Postman, come here, going to be localhost 8080. So that's the port at which our server is running on. And then we're going to use API. So the API is the request mapping for that controller. So it has to be the base URL. So all endpoints are relative to this request mapping API URL there. So slash, I'm going to drop the save post. So save post, and then next thing we're going to do, because we're going to be actually giving the postman some details of the title and the description for it to save for us. We have to go to body, yeah, and then raw, and then JSON format. So you can just go down and to JSON, and then here in JSON format we're going to open curly braces, open and close. So this is it. So the next thing you're going to do here is that you have to be careful about this. So sorry. So going to IntelliJ under our constructor in our post, you have to make sure that the title and the description is same as what you'll be giving the postman. If not, it will give you an error. So title, postman, so into curly braces, and then a semicolon there, and then we can give it the title, can give it the first post created, can be our title, and then there will be a comma, then with another listen. So here we'll take the description now and going to postman, we just drop it there, and then also do the same thing. So first description created. Okay, so that's it. Description created. Okay, so like this now, if you click on the send, so it's going to save our post into the database. Now, there's some things that will happen here. The ID, remember we didn't set the ID in here. So the ID is auto generated because we use the generation type of sequence. And then the post date too is going to be automatically created. So you're going to see you're going to see the date, the current time as of when we created this post. So that's it there. And then is what does that is the creation timestamp, the annotation creation timestamp. So we just click on next on send here. Okay, so our server is, we have to first run our server before we can test on Postman. So just wait for it to run. Okay, so it's giving me this description error here. So I think I will just, instead of just leaving it empty, like I will just take the whole description and put it here. So that's it. Let's try running the port again. So you can see here the port created without any error for us. So what we're going to do now is to go to Postman and then run that endpoint again. So you can see here the ID has been created with ID1, and then you can see the title as first post created, description, first description created, and then post date. You can see the dates. So this is December 2023 at this time and this seconds. So 6:43, 6:41. So I did this 41 second, and then this 6. So 6:41, and then you can see it here 6:41 a.m. So you can see that the date has been created for us by our database. So this so we can actually create more posts here. So let's do second post created, and then second post created, and then we click on send. It creates the ID2, and then we also let's do one more for let's do three posts. So actually for this post, you can make it more complex. You can add the image. So there's normally for a blog post there's always an image. So the image will also be a string format. So you the string format inside the value here, which will be the link, the image link. That's what you're going to put as the value of the image. That is if you want to, if the post becomes complex enough. So that's it. That's it here. So we have three posts now. So next we have to create another endpoint. So this endpoint, what this endpoint will do is to get all posts. So to just show us all the posts that is created in our database. So we're going to use public response entity of because it's all posts, we're getting all posts. It's going to be a list of posts. So that's what's going to be here. List of posts, and then so we're going to say get all posts. So now get all posts we will not be using no argument to be needed here. So we're going to just return post service dot let's say get or post. So here we have to create this method in the service implementation. So it's actually in this service implementation that we can query our database using the repository methods here. So it's going to be return new. Okay, so before that, we have to first get audio post as a list of posts first. So list of posts is post list equal to so we're going to query the database with post repository dot find all. So we want to find all posts. So now the next thing we're going to do is going to be return new response entity, and then we're going to call out the post list with a with the status code of okay. So or found, we can just use a found find all here. So that's it. Coming down here, so this is the endpoint. You can go and check it. So coming here, we need to create another request here. So this request is for to get all post. So let's say get all post, get all post, and then local posts. So let's just use this and then modify this guy to be all post. So if I click on now, because we're not giving postman any information, so we're not going to be using body. Well, instead we're just getting. So that's how most of the get methods are. You just get what is in database. So you just click on send, and then you can see that all the posts that we created with their IDs and the post dates and their title and description has been revealed to us here. So we have 3 posts in the database. So next thing to do is we're going to create more this thing. So let's do a put mapping. So a put mapping here, what it does is that you can use it to edit or update the post. So the admin or the owner of the blog post can update or edit some parts or all parts of that post. So that's going to be given endpoint of edit post. So we're going to be public response entity, also response entity. So for him to edit a part of the post, so you're going to be returning just one post, and then you cannot just edit the whole post in the database. You have to edit per the ID. So you need to also get the ID of the post that you will need to update. So you can say edit post by ID, and then you're going to use part variable. So there's an annotation called part variable. What this part variable does is to collect the ID from the when the admin or the user makes a request. When he makes a request to this endpoint here, it fetches out or it collects this ID from the URL from this part here, and then links it or binds it to this method parameter here. So it's going to be long ID here. So it collects the ID that the admin puts here, and then it binds it to this method parameter here, so that we can actually use it in our method. So we're going to return post service of edit post by ID. So we're going to return ID. So here we're going to create the method in the service implementation class here. So I'm going to return, first of all, we have to find by ID. So post equal to post repository. So we're querying the database to help us to find that particular post by ID. So there's already a method there that we can use as the find by ID with ID. Yes. So now this will give us an error because actually this find by ID returns a optional data type. So what optional here means is that in case there's an ID, it will return the post by the ID. But also there's also it can also return null. That is, if there's no ID in the if that post is not available in the database, you're going to return null. So you have to give it what it will do when it returns null. So because we haven't given it that information, that's why it's giving us this red error here. So what we can do here, we can throw an else, or else throw this thing here, method here. But instead, what I'm going to do is that I want to collect the I'm going to create an optional here, optional post. Yeah. So what I'll do here is that the post that I'm finding my ID is in the optional. So I have to collect that post from the optional. So how I'll do that is I'll use an if statement to check if this post is present. If the post is present, that is, if the post is available in the database, then we're going to now get the post out of the optional. So that's going to be post, a new variable of post equals to this post here. That's going to be post dot get. So with this statement here, we are able to get if the post is present in the database. So we're going to get it out and of the optional and save it into the post. Yeah. So that's what it is here. So after getting it out of the database, the next thing to do is now to set. We're going to set title. Okay, so we're going to set title here, but then I forgot to do something here. Going back to the controller, first off, now we have been able to know why we need to get by ID. We have to get by ID. So we get by ID because you cannot just edit all the posts in the database. You have to edit one post in the database at a time. So that's why we need to get the using path variable to collect the ID from the user, from the path. The next thing we're going to do is that because you're going to also edit, you're going to put in a new post. You're going to edit a new post. So you have to also use call the request body to also give you that post class so that you can be able to make changes on it. So it's going to be new post. So we're going to just edit this to be new post, and then also here we're going to just collect new post. So it's giving us an error because this we first created this edit post by ID without the second argument here. So if we go into edit by this, we just need to put in the second argument there as post new post. Okay, so here now when we set the ID, so look at the logic here. Let me just do this. So new post dot get title. Okay, so to explain what I've done here now. So the first thing first is to first get the ID, in the ID of the post ID, the one that you want to make the correction or the updates to. So after finding that post by ID, then is going to save into an optional. So an optional, what optional means is that it might get the ID, or it might get a null value in case the ID is not found there. So we have to get the post. If the post is found in the database there, as if post is present, then we have to get that post from the optional, and then we'll use the dot get. So this dot get is from optional. So you can see there. So to get that post out, so we'll get that post and save it as post one. So this post one is actually the post coming from our database that we have stored earlier on. So that's what this post one is. So for us to be able to change the fields or the elements in post one, we have to request the body of the post so that we can use what is there. That is the new post. So this new post now is coming with a new ID and a new description. So we're going to use that to set what was already in the database already. So that's why we are saying post one.set title, and then we're going to now use the new title that's gotten from that the user or the admin is going to put in. So that's the new post.get title, and then we're going to also do it for the description. So we're going to set description, and then we're going to be new post dot get description from the new description. And then the next thing you're going to do, a very important step, you're going to now have to save that post back into the database. So we're going to be calling the post repository dot save, and then you're saving post one. Sorry, it's post one. So the next thing to do is now to return new response entity, and then post one, then HTTP status of OK. You can use OK, or let's use OK. And then else, if the ID is not present, if the post is not present, we can do a return new response entity of still that same post one, and then HTTP status of not okay. So if we're going to just return status of not found, so the post not found, yeah. So that's how it's going to be. So we can actually throw a new that's going to be a post not found exception. Yeah, post not found exception. So having the listing of post not found. So you can see that we haven't created this thing here. So what we just do, copy this name and then create a new class of let's say exception dot this, and then we're going to annotate this guy with the exception class, exception handler. I think it's not able to type. Okay, so just remove this. So we can also extend exception like this. So we're going to use private string message. So that is the message of post not found. And then we're going to have a constructor for this constructor using this. So just say okay, and that's this it. So let's see what is the reason. Exception there. Okay, let me just keep it like this. Related problems. So we import this class. Add signature. So we have to add exception to method signature. Yeah. Okay. So I think this you can do this or you can do this. So it's telling us that we can't use return after the throw, after it has thrown an exception. So if you throw an exception, you don't need to also give it an status of not found. So we can actually delete this. Well, let me see if I take this and then put it above here. So it's going to also tell us that this one too can't be used. So it's one or the other. So let's just remove the exception first. I might do another video to show you how we can put the exception together with this response entity. So this is okay. So I'll be able to create our edit. Edit. So this one is telling us to add this here. So that's it. Okay, so as we're not going to be using the exception, we can just remove it here and then go into this one and remove this too. So that's it. This is the edit endpoint. So we can edit by ID. So that's it here. Going to Postman, we'll create another request for to edit. So that's going to be rename it to edit post by ID, and then we're going to change the get to put because that's for the editing, and then let's just take this and then edit post. Now the next thing to do is that you're going to give it which of the post ID are you giving it. So I want to edit post by the second post ID. That's what I want to edit. So because I'm going to actually give the postman something to change the previous post by, I have to go to body, raw, and then JSON. So it might be like this. I'm giving it title. So what I can do here is that I can come here to this my save, copy this information here, go to the edit, and then just post it here. So what I'll do here is that I'll do third post created, third post copy, or third post edited successfully. Yes, so that's what I'm going to do. Successfully. And then I'm also going to do it for this one, third description edited successfully. So this is it here. Successfully. Yes. So now if we click on send, now it's going to give us the ID of that, the post ID with a new ID, a new title and description of new post edited successfully and the others. And it's going to give us a new post date. So this is going to be a new post date of when it was edited successfully. So this is it here. And then you can see status code of okay 200, showing that everything went well. So if we try to get all posts, you see that the ID, this 2, look at this ID 2 where we say second post created. Now it's going to be third post created edited successfully. So come here, you're going to see it here. So look at it here, ID 2, third post edited successfully. So actually is a mistake on my part. This is supposed to be second post edited successfully, but what we can do here is that we can also edit this guy again. So we can also go to edit post by ID and edit this guy to be second post edited successfully, and then second post edited successfully. So if you click on send, you see that it will change, it will update that post, and then if you get all back, you see that it's now okay. So this is first post created, third post created, and then the second post was edited successfully. So our get post by ID endpoint is actually working very well. So the next endpoint to create here is going to be the we're going to do delete, and we're going to do get by ID. So in case you want to get a particular post by ID, you are going to have that endpoint. So let's do the get by ID one first. So get by ID. So we're going to say get post. Then by ID is going to be with the with this. So this is how we're going to do it, because we need to use path variable to extract that ID from the path URL. So we can use it in our method parameter. So public response entity, and then because we are returning just one post, so we just have to just do one post like this, and then say get post by ID, and then we're going to just use path variables. So path variable will take in long of ID, and then we're going to now return the post service dot. We're going to now say get post by ID, and then we're going to put the ID here. Yes. Then we're going to create the get post by ID method in the service implementation. So it's where we're going to now do post yes equal to post repository dot. So we're going to find by ID. So we're going to make sure that the ID is actually there. So this is it here. Get find by ID, and then I'm going to put the ID there. And then giving us the error because remember I told you that is going to be an optional data type, because you're going to you are going to get a null value too if it goes if it doesn't find the post. That's why you need to use an optional. And then for this optional here, you are not saying if the post is actually present, then it should bring it out for us. So that's what we're going to do. So post dot is present. So what we're going to do is that we're going to now return that post. So we're going to be post one, so it's a new variable post, and then we're going to return the post from the optional. So just going to be post dot. So this post here is equal to this post here. So we're going to get the post from the database. So if the post in database is if it's found by that ID, then return it for me. So bring it out of the optional for me, and then save it inside the post one. So now it's found there. We're going to now return new response entity and then the post one. Yes, and then we're going to say found. So http status dot found. So means that this post has been found, or else if it is not, if the post is not found there, so we can actually just do a return new response entity of still that's the same post one. So even if it's not found, it's going to be we're going to still give it to us here, and then what we're going to do, so http status of not found. Okay, so this is giving us an error. So what we can do is that it's going to be, this one is going to be post. So about post, okay, so what we can do here is that instead of also calling this guy, we can just remove it, because if it's not going to be found, if the post is not going to be found, so we can instead just instead of bringing it out, because there's nothing to bring out actually, so we're going to just get http status dot not found. So if it's found, it will bring out that found post, but if it's the not found, it's just give us a not found status code. So that's what we need here. So if we go back to this, you can get post by ID now. So going to Postman, you created another request for get post by ID. So it's going to be a request, rename this to get post by ID, and then you're going to come here, get localhost, and then change this to this get post, and then by ID. So remember, we have 3 posts in our ID, so let's say we want to get the first post. So we're not going to be giving Postman anything, so there's no need of using body, and we're going to just click on send. So now you can see that this is our first post information here, first post created. So if you want to also get the second one, you just need to change the 1 to 2, and then click on send again, and then you can see here if you want to get the third one, the same thing, and then you click on this, and then you can see the status code of found. So I mean that we actually found the post in the database there. But in case now we're using something like for, we know that there's no fourth post in that our database. If you click on send, it actually returns nothing here, and then tells you that 4 not found. So this is the status code that post is not found in the database. So this is okay here. It's okay. So the next thing to do is creating another request to delete post. So I think that's the last request that we have for now. So we can actually delete post by ID. Okay, so we also have, if in case that the users want to search post by the post title, so we're going to do we're going to also do that. So this one will be delete, and then localhost, let me say this one will be delete. Yeah, delete post. So I'll just copy this so I can use to create my endpoint. So going back to IntelliJ, I will just so delete, to delete you need a delete mapping. So the endpoint will be delete post by ID. So you cannot just delete everything. You can actually delete all posts in the database, and you can also delete by ID. So this is how you need. So it's the same formula as we did before, return response entity, but now because of delete is actually not going to return anything. So we're going to actually return void, and then we're going to say delete post by ID, and then we're going to put in using path variable to extract that ID name, that ID for us. So there's going to be long ID, and then we're going to say return. Okay, sorry, we didn't put the curly braces. So we say return post service dot delete by ID. So that's going to be ID, and then we're going to create this delete by ID. So let's say delete post by ID, so it's more explanatory. So creating this guy is going to be so first of all we need to find that ID first. So the same thing we did with optional. So let's just do optional post of the post equal to post repository dot find by ID. Yes, so immediately we find the ID, then we cannot delete it. So if the ID is present, so that's going to be post dot is present. If the ID is present, we need to collect it into this post. So post one equal to post dot get. Yes, and then we want to now do return post repository dot delete by ID of post one dot get ID. So we're going to now, when we find that post exists in the database, and then what we're going to do is that we're going to delete by the ID of that post that is found in the database. So that is going to be deleted by ID and post one dot get ID. So when you get the ID of that post that is deleted by in the database, then you can just delete it off. Instead, even if you don't want to use the find by ID, you can just delete by ID and delete the post directly from this thing. So you don't need to go find. So you can actually do something like this. You can just do something like this, and then we're just returning this guy. So it's going to be, instead of this, it's going to just be ID. Yeah. So this is it, and then we'll come here and do return new response entity. And then because there's nothing we're returning actually, because when we delete the post, there's nothing to return. So we can just give a HTTP status of OK that we have successfully deleted and what we want to delete. So that's it. That's it for that. But you can also do the other optional one. So if the post is present, then delete that post. But if the post is not present, it can actually give you a different response entity. So I think that one should be okay for us, because we actually have to have another an else statement, something telling us that if that post is not there, so you have to throw an error or something like that. So if using this will not be very good, because we only have only one condition to do one thing if the ID is there. But if the ID is not there now, maybe now we want to delete a post ID of 4, which we don't have. So this our code actually is not actually doing anything to help to do anything there. So it's going to maybe give us a bad request that status code or so. So I think we're going to use this. We're going to use optional here. So we can actually have another this thing. So let's just go back to this. Yes, so I just wanted to show you how you can do the other one. But that other one will not be too effective because you don't have an else statement. So in case that post is not found in database, that ID is not found in database. So what will you do? You can return a new response entity, and I'm going to use HTTP not found, HTTP status code not found. So the post ID is not found in database. So that is why you cannot delete that ID. So here is telling us missing return statement here. Yes, so because of this, we deleted we deleted, but we didn't return anything here. So return new response entity, the post. So you're not going to return anything actually. So just http status dot okay. That's something actually deleted. So this is how it's going to be. So we just go back to this guy, and then we can delete. Let's let's say let's go back to postman, and then if you do delete by 4, so remember there's no fourth post. You click on next, it's going to give you a not found. So this is it, not found, no resource found for that post. So instead of all this this thing here, so in my next video I'll be showing you how to actually create a good exception class here that will handle this not found. So instead of it giving us this long response of this thing, we can actually get a line or two to explain to us to the client why in a readable format, because this is not readable at all. So we have to create an exception file that we just the message will just be simple, that post not available in database or something like that. So but if we use if we go to something like tree now, because tree is available, so if you click on next to just delete and give us 200, okay. And then when we want to like get all post, so we'll see how many posts is actually there. So this 3 will not be present anymore. So if you click on this, you can see that it's just 1 and 2 present in the database. So that's it, guys. And then the next one we'll do, the last one we'll do is to search. Just in case that the admin wants to search the post by the post title. So we're going to use you want to get is a get mapping. So you want to get that post by the title instead of getting it by the name. So this one here is by getting it by the ID. So in case you want to get it by the title of the post, so you're going to do something like get post title, get post title, how to spell title, and then you're going to use title. So this title here must correspond to your post must correspond to this title here. So title, then I'm going to say public response entity of let's say of because you're returning one post. Actually you're not returning one post, you're returning a list of posts that have that title, that has that post title, or that title is contained in it. So you're going to return a list of that post. So if someone is searching for A, if someone search A now, I should be able to get all posts that have title that it starts with A or is containing A in the title name. So that's going to be list of posts. So this is going to be get post by post title. So we're going to do title like this, and then we're going to be using path variable. You understand? So by now you should know what path variable does for us, and then this is going to be a title is actually a data type of string. Okay, what am I doing? String. So title, yes. So this is what we're going to do. So this is giving us a little error because of this does not look correct. So you can actually just do post title like this, and then we're going to return post service dot get post by the post title. So that's it, and then we're going to just put the title there. And then here now you have to create that method in your service implementation, and then here what you do is that you have to get that whole post, that whole list of posts. So this is it. So that's going to be post list equal to, now querying your database repository, you now have to find post, yes, find post by title, we're going to find post by title. Now we're going to do something here. By title, ignore case. So in case the user puts in a small letter A instead of a capital letter A, you will still be able to find that post title. So we're going to now use contain in here. Contains or containing, let me say contains. So contains title. So you can see that it's giving us a error. So what we do here is that to create that ID with that method in the post repository. So it's going to be something like this. So look at it here. We're actually finding a list of posts that have title, but the title can be ignore case. So ignore case here means that even if you set your post with capital letters, if I search for that your post with small letters, I should be able to still find that post. That's why I used ignore case here. And then contains here means that anywhere A is found in that your post, I can also be able to get that post. So, but if you don't want to use contains, you can actually remove the contains so that it will only be the first words from the first words going up. That's the only uh, title you're going to find. So let's go back to service implementation. So I've created that guy here. So the next thing to do here is now to say if post list is empty. So in case I search for something now, maybe I search for Z, and we know well that our post we know well that our post title does not have Z in it. So it's going to actually give us something. Maybe we're going to say return new response entity with that post list. So we say not HTTP status of no content. You can actually use no content or in that post list. So there's no content there. Then we can just do else statements, and then we do return that the same so post list, and then we say HTTP status code dot created or found or something like that. So let's just use found. So that's it, guys. So if the post is empty, it tells us that the post has no content. But if if there's something there, then it will just return it for us with a HTTP status of found. So guys, that's it. So going back here, we just taken this endpoint here, and then we'll go to Postman, create a new request here of create a new request, and rename this to what is going to be let's say get post by title. So let's say title, yes, and then this is a get. Then using the URL, we're going to just change this to our own endpoint here, and then remember we're going to be using. So now if I remember that I have an F. So if I say F like first now, because I remember I have like first title created as a title in my my first post ID. So if I click on first here, I should be able to get that ID with all the details of that ID that have the post title as first something. So if you click on and you can see that we can get that title. So you can see this is the first here. So it brought out the whole post details, when it was created, and the title and the description with the ID of that post. So even if I have something like F, maybe I don't know the full title, I just have F in my I just have F. I just remember F, and then I can click on send, and to just give me audio. This audio post that have F in it. So because remember how we did contains, so that contains now this is F here in this title, and then this is also F here. So ignore case. The ignore case now saying even if it's small letter or capital letter, If it is found, if f is found in the title, return that post, all those posts, those list of posts for me. So if we don't want it to to use contains, so you can actually remove contains from the service implementation class there, and you'll see that it will only give you only the first the post that have just the that the title has just the first um, first this thing there, first title there. So that's it, guys. So we can see that we have created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 requests with our REST controller. So this is it here. So you can see that first thing here, last just to conclude, the REST controller tells Spring Boot that this is a REST controller class, and then that we're going to be creating only RESTful APIs here. So what in this controller we cannot return a page or a template with this controller here, because this is a RESTful controller. So you can't if you want to return a page or a template or a view, if you want to return a view, then you're going to just remove the REST here. But for now we just want to we want it to be a RESTful API. So this is why we have to use the REST here. So it will just give us the response body. It will return the response body for us, plus the HTTP the response body, yes, and the controller. So that's what it does for us. It returns the response body. But if you have controller, you see that it returns the view. So that's it. And then all this, so what we used mostly was the request body. So request body is to request the class of that body. So in case you want to make changes to that class, or you want to save it, or anything like that, so you need to use the request body to request that body of that class. And then you also need path variable to be able to collect the input of the user from the path. So it collects that ID from the path URL, and then sends that ID into this method, so that you can be able to actually pass commands on it, or create something on it. So you can actually be able to use that ID in this method to do something. So that's what the path variable guy annotation does, just to collect it binds the ID or the title from the path URL, and then sends it to the method parameter, so that the method can actually be able to use it to query the database or any other thing. So this one, and then this edit by ID, and then delete by ID, get by ID, actually using the path variable guy to do all that. Even this get by title. So you can also get the post by the description of the post. So this place here will not be the description of that post, and so that's how it is. So if you from the next video, so this is going to be a series video. So in the next video, we're going to be creating the model for comments. We're going to be doing the comments. So let me just create it here now. So this is the comments section. So we're going to create comments. So the users that register into the site can actually comment on those blog posts that the admin has already set or have already created. So, and there can be multiple comments on each post. So we're going to be using something like at many to one. So by the next video, I'm going to explain why we need at many to one, and why it is the best option to use instead of the one to many. So guys, that's the end of this video, and I hope that this has been educative for you. So that's it. So if you go to the PG admin, you can actually see audio. You can refresh here. So you go to schema and table. I think this should give us so you can see post here, the posts that have been created, and then you can view, edit the data, then the all rows. So here you will see we have 1 and 2, because remember we deleted the third post. So this is it, the post date, and then the post title with the description, and then the ID of each post. So guys, that's the end of this tutorial. See you in the next video.